and we don't need anybody. Let me tell you, nobody was designed to do life alone. At every level, you have peers. You have people at your level. And it is not always people at your level that God will send to you. Or was not with him. Bad. A dam of testimonies that sound like lies. Today, I would have come here with one of my children. But the doctor refused to let her travel.
In whatever kind of situation you find yourself, don't always feel that you are alone. There's always a word of encouragement that God will send your way. Be sensitive. Be attentive. Don't feel lonely. Don't feel alone. Don't feel lost. Don't feel overwhelmed. Don't allow your situation to lead you to wrong places. Just pay attention to your inner man. God will always send you a word of encouragement. And this word you're about to listen to is one of them. So stay tuned and listen to. Grace is about to speak to you.
Feel that we have reached the heights of who we are and we don't need anybody. Let me tell you, nobody was designed to do life alone. At every level, you have peers. You have people at your level. And it is not always people at your level that God will send to you. Or have you not heard that Saul, the son of a rich man, was sent to go and look for donkeys? He took his servant with him. After a while, he said, let them not start worrying about us. Let's go back. The servant, who should know nothing, said to him, there's a prophet in this place. Saul did not know with all his riches. He said, but we cannot consult him. I have no money. Servant said, I have money. Don't undermine people around you. Saul will never have ascended to the throne if that servant was not with him. Why? He would have cut his journey short at the verge of destiny. He said, I have money. Take. Servant gave Oga money. Hey, isn't all this useless driver? And now in they drive you, you go to sleep inside the motor. You have called him useless and you are sleepy. He knows how to drive that side that you are in. Under a trailer, his own side will be free. This stupid house girl, you beat and beat and beat and beat and beat. Then you leave your 2-month-old with her. Hey, eyes will see you. That one ear will hear. But what strikes me and excites me about Naomi is that when Ruth, robust Ruth, young Ruth, with breasts that were full, had a baby and couldn't produce milk, and the tattered, dead, dried up breasts of Naomi came back to life. And there's nothing that can die and not come back to life. Nothing. Nothing. The breast came back to life, filled up with milk, and it was Naomi that was breastfeeding. What's the name of the baby? Obed. I think that's the name of the child there. Obed did not feed at Ruth's breast. He fed at Naomi's breast. 2 generations away. Don't sit down there and tell me time has passed. Who calculated the time? And who calibrated the season? So when I was saying, God, where do I go with this? He said, I want you to center on my peace. I say, peace, inside eye has not seen. He said, yes, because for most people, what is gone is not money. What is gone is not husband. What is gone is not child. What is gone is not opportunity. What is gone is peace. He said, once the devil can touch that peace, everything else is up for sale. If the devil can destabilize your peace, then everything else is for sale. Everything else. I learned that the hard way. You know, I don't know how many of you remember the turntable music thingy. Most of you don't know it because they never born on at that time. But some of us know that turntable. How many of you saw the one cupboard that had hole? Let me see if you saw one cupboard that had hole. Okay, on a plenty small. On a don't they old. Me, I saw it, but I'm not old. I don't know about you. That turntable, when you place a disc on it and you put the pin and it starts to play, once there's a little scratch on the plate, what starts happening? Every time the pin will get there, it will jump back. So that's where the term, you are sounding like a broken record. That's where it comes from. For those of you who don't know the history. I was the king of broken records on cyclical thoughts. If something happened, I couldn't get past it. I sat with my thoughts and they kept running around in my head, running around in my head. I could sit for hours. Can I get a witness? For hours, and the same thoughts are running through my head, stirring up the emotions. You know the funny thing about thoughts? The things that hurt you are actually memories. It's memory. The thing has happened and passed. But you are sitting here. The season of the thing has passed. But you are here and your time is being eaten up. It's not only your time that is being eaten up. Your emotions are eaten up. It's not only your emotions that are eaten up. Your productivity is eaten up. It's not only your productivity that is eaten up. Your relationships are failing. Why? You're sitting with a memory. And you know the funny thing? Most times they are bad memories. Hardly will you find yourself sitting down with a good memory for 3 hours just saying, Kai, this thing is just sweet in my belly. Oh God, Jesus, you did sweet in my belly. You took hardly. When you waste that time, is bad, negative thoughts. And I was king. My productivity was 0. Because these thoughts will grip me. They will control me. They will direct me. And they will shut me down. Bitterness entered my soul. I was bitter because I was hurt. The worst thing you can do is to trifle with people's stories and journeys. Don't ever say to a person, now that's not the way happen, now you they cry. Pain is pain, no. Don't compare pain. Because as they pain you, if it they sweet me. And as they pain me, if it they bite you. So don't ever say to somebody, that is small compared to me. Pain is pain. So I felt offended. I felt wounded. And I felt justified. And bitterness came and camped in my life. It made a throne and sat down. I would wake up in the morning. Instead of waking up refreshed, I wake up more tired than I slept. So the sleep was not bringing rest. I couldn't rest even in sleep. My subconscious was agonizing. Hey. Today, I would have come here with one of my children. But the doctor refused to let her travel. Auntie Dorothy, I was so happy that she was coming with me because she would have stood here as a living proof of what I was saying. How many of you remember me testifying about my child that was born sick? She was so sick, she couldn't do anything. She couldn't keep a job. She was almost permanently in the hospital. So we prayed and we said, let's go and do a bone marrow transplant. Listen to me. And we went to a first hospital in California. And they were so nice. My daughter said, I wish I could do the transplant here. But the money, it was like $1 million. See me, see dollar. Now, Nigeria, I don't earn any money in dollars. So we heard about another hospital, a research hospital, and they do the transplant for free. Let me tell you a few things. So I got a message from a woman on Instagram. I don't know her. She had a Yoruba name. She said, please, I need to talk to you about my son. I immediately assumed it was about drug addiction. I didn't know who it was. But I was too busy that period, and I was traveling to go meet my daughter. She had fallen into depression. And God said to me, leave, go to the US now. Your daughter is depressed, and she's suicidal. So I didn't answer the woman. I got to America and decided to answer the woman. But as I got there, I called the second hospital that is free. And they said to me, oh, you called too late, call back tomorrow. So that tomorrow, while I was waiting to call the hospital, I said, let me answer this woman who sent me a message. And I answered her. And she said, she told me what the issue was. And I said, okay, where do you live? Because it was a Yoruba name, I thought she was in Nigeria. She said, I live in the US. I said, what part of the US? I wanted to recommend a church for her to go because they were not going to church. And she said, I live in Maryland. I said, the hospital I was waiting to call is in Maryland. I said, I was just talking to a hospital yesterday in Maryland, and now you say you live in Maryland. I said, I was talking to a hospital about bone marrow transplant. She said, is it NIH? I said, yes. She said, I work there. Hello? Excuse me. I said, you say what? She said, is it sickle cell? I said, yes. She said, you're talking to the transplant unit, bone marrow. I said, yes. She said, drop the call, I'm coming. So I dropped the call. She went and she coming. She said, I work in the cancer unit, but my friend, I just went downstairs and discovered that my friend has just been made the head of the sickle cell unit. She said, so I told her, my sister's daughter needs a transplant. She said, your sister? She said, Abia, you know my sister? I said, I'm your sister. I'm your sister in the Lord. And she said, the moment I said my sister's daughter, the woman said to her, we are going to cut all the red tape and the protocol. She said, give your sister these 2 email addresses. She dictated the application and told her, tell your sister to give the doctor that was taking care of her child in Nigeria, not America, so that one will write to the hospital and send directly to the 2 doctors who do the transplants. Every red tape went. We wrote them. They said we should come. So we went. They said, oh, we can't take you. There's one medicine you are supposed to have been taking for 2 years. Since you are not taking it, we cannot take you. So we left. But the other hospital has said to us, let us do the HLA typing. That is how to find the donor match. So my last 2 children, they sent kits to them. One was in Nigeria, one was in Ireland. And they took their sample and they did the test. We were sitting down and we got a call. Okay, so when they told me this child was sick, I had a boy next to her. Then when I was having the little girl, I heard about cord blood banking. Cord blood banking is the way they bank blood or bank stem cells or plasma. Apparently, in the umbilical cord of a baby, when a baby is born, is not actually blood, it's all stem cells. So they started, the doctors will come, the company that banks it will come and stand there. As they are bringing the baby, they empty that cord blood and they store it in sterile environment. That blood has saved many children in the future, saved the siblings in the future. So I heard about it and I said, I'm going to do it. Perhaps this one's blood will save this one. Now, between this girl and the boy next to her is 4 years. Between the boy and this baby is 8 years. That's 12 years. So I stored the blood. You pay every year on the child's birthday. So they did the HLA typing. If they get a 50% match, they're good to go. And they called us. They said, well, your last baby is a match at 66%. You remember one of our leaders in this country who went to jail because they couldn't find a donor within the family. So you can imagine my joy. As I wanted to start shouting in praise, they said, wait, don't shout. They say your son is 100% match. Oh. Every parameter they tested was exactly the replica of the numbers to the point 0003006. Exactly. Even the doctors were shouting, what is this? When I wanted to start shouting, you know what the Lord said to me? He said, you see, what you see in the physical, you don't know the things I'm doing behind. He said, you came 12 years later to save the blood of your baby, not knowing that 8 years before, I already did the miracle and finished. Let's put our flesh in its place. Oh. My son was 100% match. We started shouting. We were shouting in the house. That very day, we got a call from the hospital that told us no. They said, come back. We're saying yes. 2 miracles on the same day. We ran back there. They said, since they've already tested them there, we don't need to test them again. Just tell your brother to come. My son went. They took, look, I can't tell you the testimonies that lined up. I can't tell you the things God did. We had no dime. People, strangers, people who follow me on social media started showing up in the hospital. I didn't even know anybody knew me in Maryland. They cooked and cooked and cooked and cooked. When I was leaving, I was dashing people food. I had too much. They brought money. They came to pray. So my daughter had the transplant. Some of you watched that process online. Every single day for 120 days, I was putting up the process. Now, the testimonies that came, one woman showed up at that hospital with her daughter and said, please, I heard about this hospital because I saw a woman on social media talking about her daughter's journey. And that's how I applied to the hospital. And you said I should bring my daughter. Are they still here? Can I greet them? And they said, no, they're done and they're gone. That's one life changed because we were sharing that story. Everything lined up. Now, after the transplant, you're supposed to be there for 100 days, and then they will release you to go home if everything is okay. On day 50, but every week, twice a week, they will take her blood and check to be sure that the brother's cells are multiplying in the body. Because they will use chemotherapy and radiation to kill her own cells. Then they will introduce the brother's own. So they'll be waiting for the brother's own to graft. Day 50, we came for test. The doctor was saying, well, so I'm very sorry to tell you that all your brother's cells are dead. The transplant has failed. Hey! You know, there are times you want to cry, then you calculate it. I say, if I cry, waiting the pikin way get the problem go do. So I held myself. You have capacity to hold yourself. You see all these things that you do every small thing, you start crying, yeah. Hold yourself. Let I see you holding yourself. No more cry. They should be singing for you, cry, baby. I want to see your mommy. Every small thing that happens, you are running around like a chicken that they have cut off his head. Let no eye see it again. Hold yourself. I held myself. As my daughter started crying, I just said to the doctor, what next? The doctor looked at me, he was shocked. He said, what do you mean by what next? I said, this one has failed. What next? He said, well, the only option is another transplant. We had been in the hospital for 1 year. Another transplant. My daughter broke down. My daughter collapsed. She started wailing, mommy. I said, hey, we thought our journey with this sickness was over, but this was just another phase. We are going again. See, God will never leave you when you stand up again. No. But because what you are saying is, I believe my God can work even though this has failed. Failure is not the end. Failure is a challenge. Failure is opposition saying to you, do you have what it takes? I have what it takes. That's why I said to you, Jesus is coming soon. I don't want him to come and meet me without some certain victories in my kitty. Pastor Wilson said, if our church had a private jet, Pastor Sarah will be here now. And he said, the days are coming. Me, I want the jet because I go to borrow. One day I was reading my Bible. See, whatever happens, so read your Bible. Whatever happens, pray. If all you can say is Jesus, is enough. It's the name above every name. Just that name is enough. I was reading my Bible and I read that scripture. I've read it many times before, but I just read the scripture. That will keep him in perfect peace, whose mind, whose heart is stayed on you. I read it and I was going, God said, come back. Have you experienced that before? Come back to that scripture. I came back. I read it. I was going, come back. He did it 10 times, more than 10 times. I kept coming back. Why is he drawing my attention here? And God said to me, which portions of your heart are you reserving for the bitterness? He said, because I can't keep those parts in peace. What you have is partial peace, and partial peace is no peace. I said, Lord, he said, if you are reserving any part, there can be no peace. I knew that in my power, I couldn't let go that bitterness. I felt that as long as I held to it, God will punish the person that wounded me. But if I release it, God will forget. Nothing gets by God. He doesn't miss a thing. And God said to me, give me this thing. It's in your way. So every day, for about 3 months, I will not lie to you. I came before God and I knew that the thing is still there. I said, Father, take the darkness from my soul. Take the darkness from me. That's all I kept coming to say. Father, take the darkness from me. Take the darkness from my soul. Take the darkness from my soul. I came one day after 3 months and I wanted to say that prayer and I realized darkness was gone. See, God doesn't say we do the victory. We obey, then he brings the victory. It is God that does the work, not us. We just bring our bodies and submit to him. Then he does the work. Darkness was gone. And let me tell you, from that moment, it was like a dam burst. A dam of good, not bad. A dam of testimonies that sound like lies. I told my daughter, stop crying. Then we left the doctor's office. And they said, but she cannot do the second transplant here anymore. I said, we're going back to that place where they say we should pay 1 million. Why? The sheep upon 1,000 hills and the cattle, the gold and the silver, they belong to my God. We're going there. She said, Mommy, I said, will you go? I said, there's still the possibility that it can fail. What if we go and it fails again? My daughter said, then I will know that I gave it my best shot. Now, so they said she cannot have another transplant till after 1 year. So we waited, and she was sick. Sick as usual. I've not been in Nigeria for more than 2 years. I'll just come in for 2 days, run back. Because that child couldn't function. So we went back to that hospital. And they started. Somebody promised to give us the money. Yes, you can go, I'll pay. We went on the strength of a man's word. The Bible says the arm of flesh, the arm of flesh will fail. I don't know that Bible talk about na proverb. The arm of flesh will fail. Arm of flesh failed. We were supposed to be there for 6 months. He paid the first month. Second month, said, I don't have money. I cannot pay. Stop everything you are doing. And stop the process. At this point, my son had come back from the UK. They have been choking his belly, injections, two injections every day, so that they will stimulate his body to produce excess stem cells so they can harvest it. My son said, hey, after all this suffering, I said to my daughter, you see the God that brought us this far. He will finish this thing. We will do this transplant. I called Auntie Sarah. Auntie Sio, see what is happening. She said, no shaking. God is in this thing. Oh, I didn't know I had friends. I didn't know I had people. People began to send us money. We needed to raise $38,000 in 4 days. We needed to raise it because we needed to pay our bills. We had to rent a place. We had to rent a car. We have to be transporting. We had to pay for some of her medications. Even though we got her insurance, insurance was only going to pay 85%. We had $150,000 co-pay. I said that $150,000, I don't know where it's going to come from, but maybe I pick it well first. So we wanted to raise $18,000 for our bills, $20,000 to give to the hospital so that they will give us discount. That's how they do in America. If you give them cash, they'll give you discount. I said, let's raise it. And we did. People of God. When the person said he won't pay, my daughter had a crisis. She fell sick. Took her to the hospital, they admitted her. I was going to get something for her from the canteen and I saw the pain doctor that was caring for her. And the doctor said, I never see you without your daughter. You're always pushing her wheelchair. Where is she? I said, she's ill. She has a crisis. The doctor said, no, it's not possible. The amount of pain medications I have that girl on, she shouldn't have a crisis until the transplant is over. And then she said to me, did something happen? I said, yes, ma'am. What happened? I said, the financial donor withdrew the donation. She said, you can't separate the body from the emotions. This is not a sickness crisis. This is emotional pain. She said, okay, don't worry. I will go to the finance unit to talk to them. It doesn't happen. Doctors have no business with the finance unit. I thought she was just saying it to make me feel better. The next day, finance unit came into my daughter's room. Oh, your doctor said she does not want her patient going in for transplant in this state of mind. What is happening? My daughter said, my donor withdrew the help. They said, okay, we'll see what we can do about it. They left. 2 days later, they brought voucher, $200. Say, use it to buy groceries. I say, it has started. Long and short, people. They did my daughter's transplant. We were now wondering, okay, where do we go from here? Who do we go and talk to? The finance unit came back. entered the room and said, whatever insurance didn't cover, we have written it off. Eyes have not seen, ears have not heard. Where does it happen? They wrote off $150,000. I left that hospital not owing a dime. It pays to serve Jesus. So I cannot tell you all. For me, eyes have not seen. That is in my kitty. I'm moving to the next level. I've been in ministry 35 years. Everywhere I've gone, I've been invited to come. At the end of last year, while my daughter was still getting herself, God said to me, I want you to make some sacrifices this year. Everywhere you have followers on social media, I want you to go, even if it's one person, go to that country, go to that city, go to that place, and bring my word of encouragement. He said, days of great discouragement are coming, but I want my encouragement to already be enthroned before Satan comes, so that when he comes, he will not have the effect that he's looking for. I said, Lord, how am I going to fund it? He didn't answer me. Travel to nations, now money? From out of the blue, somebody I've never met in Canada sent me a message. She said, I know you don't know me, but God, I was just minding my business and God brought you to my mind. She said, this is what God said. Go, you will be provided for. So I said, okay. Since my daughter lives in Houston now, we finished in California, they moved us to Houston, transferred her to MD Anderson Hospital and doctors there to continue her care because they're still testing her blood. It's that MD Anderson doctor that did not allow her to travel. The one that did the transplant said she can go. This one is fear doctor. He said, no, you're going to Nigeria. I don't know if you're going to be able to do the blood test. I said, what do you think Nigeria is? They can do blood tests. He said, no, if you go, I will not stop you, but I will not prescribe your medicine. I told my daughter, stay. She cried and cried. She wanted to come. I said, stay, baby, let this process finish. We will come back. We will come to Family Worship Center again. You will come and stand and still tell your story. Don't worry. So I said, since my daughter is in Houston, let me start in my Jerusalem. I did not even know that people knew me in Houston. God told me the meetings would be small, but he was going to do a lot of healing. So I put a flyer on my social media. The people that showed up, even though people help me, therefore no see anything chop. Showed up. From there, suddenly, see, so far I've done 4. I've done Houston, and then I found myself in Toronto, Canada, and then I came back to Philadelphia and did Maryland, all in the month of February. This month, on Saturday, I'm doing Abuja, because I'm already here, do it here. When I don't buy my ticket, no need to buy another ticket. On the 17th, I'm in Cameroon. On 19th, I'm doing Lagos Island. On 23rd, I'm in Ghana. On 27th, I'm in Liberia. On 31st, I'm doing Lagos mainland. Then I will go to Port Harcourt. On the 12th of April, we're in South Africa. On the 14th, we're in Zimbabwe, Zambia, Tanzania, Uganda, Kenya, and back. In May, June, we're going to Europe, UK, Germany, Ireland, France, Norway. Now, you wonder, how is she able to go? My daughter was in hospital and she said to me, Mommy, all this time you're spending here, you will have a problem if your visa expires. They'll say you overstayed, you won't get another visa. She said, Mommy, since I turned 18, I've been asking you, let me file for you, you refuse. I said, what am I doing with it? I don't need any American citizenship, nothing. She said, Mommy, you need it, or otherwise you get into trouble. I said, okay, apply. The waiting time was 36 months. My daughter applied. 10 months later, I saw green card in my house. They posted it to my daughter's house. Green card. In fact, green card came after they sent work permit first. They don't give me work permit. Man, for begin labor for that. I said, I already did that kind of thing. Then they now brought green card. He said to me, this is why I gave you the green card. Because you are going to nations. So that it will not be difficult. Eyes have not seen, oh. That's why I said, Auntie Dorothy, this theme, I'm not preaching. I'm just telling you stories. Because I am living it. September last year, I just got a call. A university in America. We want to give you an honorary doctorate degree for your work with addiction. I said, I don't need it. They say you need it. What am I doing with title, Doctor what? I beg. They say you need it. They conferred the title by force. 2 months later, I got an email from Institute of Management Consultants, Nigerian branch. Say, for your work with addicts, we want to give you fellowship of the institute, but you have to write exam. Then bring long book like this. Me, I don't understand, I need to go to school again. I went to that one. I did, wrote the exam. They say you passed. You are now a fellow. Now listen to this. Somebody came and said, Reverend Christy, you say you're going to nations. Yes, Liberia is on me. Somebody's paying the whole bill for Liberia. From tickets to hotel to... Then she said, but you were in Liberia in 2020, and you spoke with, our vice president spoke with you to come and set up rehab centers in Liberia, and you came back to Nigeria to return, and COVID shut down the world. Now their regime has passed. But I know the PA to the president, and I want them to resurrect that conversation. Because in Liberia now, the young people are going to graveyards, digging dead bodies, and grinding the bones and smoking them. Yes. Yes. He said, it's bad, we need help. Immediately she told the SA. SA said, she's not coming for preaching, she's coming on a state visit. It's the government that is picking me from the airport. It's the government that is accommodating me. I have meetings with top functionaries in Liberian government. And God said to me, this is why I gave you the titles. You are not going to Liberia as Reverend Christie. You go as Dr. Christie. Because the world respects titles. Don't play with this God. Eyes have not seen. In Zimbabwe, they are gathering the children of one whole local government, and I'm speaking to them. In Uganda, they are gathering children of local governments for me to speak to them about addiction. Eyes have not seen. And yes, I'm from Zangon Kataf. I'm from Wadon. My father's village is so small. If you are driving at 20 kilometers per hour, you finish my father's village in 25 seconds. I'm not joking. My cousin is there. His father is my father's immediate... Bakoya girme Dauda. Dauda girme Bako. Okay, so Dauda, his father was my father's immediate junior brother. We're from the same village, same lineage. He knows our village. But God specializes in picking the foolish things of the earth to confound the wise. Listen to me. Fight for your peace. Some people think that peace is something we just pray about and it just comes. No, peace is something you enforce and enforce and enforce and enforce until it takes root and becomes the anchor for your life. Let me tell you, nothing worries me. Anything the devil like, I tell him, bring it on. Anything in your arsenal, bring it. I know they fear. Why? God has shown me that room called peace. Once I enter there, every clamor ceases. Teach yourself to enter that place. Enter the peace of God and enforce it. I came back from America 3 days ago. I entered the airport, gave them my luggage. They said, oh, madam, we can check your hand luggage for free. Out of excitement, I gave them the hand luggage. It was when I reached lounge. I sat down, I was waiting. Then I remembered, all the small money that they gave me is inside the hand luggage. Hey, I ran back down. Give me my box back. They said, madam, we can't bring your box back or your flight is almost boarded. And it's a risk. And you have to stand here to take at least 30 minutes. You can't go anywhere and sit down. You must stand there. I said, I'll stand. I stood there. They brought my box. I took the money out. Gave them the box back. Entered and sat down. I remembered one other envelope that had the biggest money. I didn't remove it. It was in the bag. So the devil came to take my peace. He wanted me to travel from the US to Nigeria in turmoil. I said, God, you are the protector of my assets. I will not labor and another eat. Now, honorarium, that money be. Nobody can touch. I said, even if they do x-ray, they no go see them. I got to Nigeria, I opened my box, my money was there. Satan will set you up. If you allow him, he will mess you up. Refuse it. Enforce your peace. The peace of God. It doesn't make sense. Turbulence in the plane. One man that was sitting beside me, when the thing did one wah like this, he grabbed me. I said, Ogana, wait. Who is supposed to grab who? Why are you grabbing me? So when the plane stabilized, the man turned and looked at me. I no shake. You know why?